spoilers because, Scream. Or as I like to call it. I think most of us here know about the Scream movies. They're pretty well known. You know, you've got your Sydney, your Dewey, your Gale, E, and of course, the one and only Ghostface. I like Ghostface. I like his costume, his voice, his weapon, his mask. Does that count as his costume? Whatever. The point is, he's cool. The other characters are pretty cool too. Sydney is a great protagonist. She's smart, cunning, and hot. That's like all the essentials. So yeah, Scream is pretty epic. So epic that the franchise has spawned a total of 6 movies, all varying from different ranges of quality. Huh. If only there was someone who could rank all of these movies in an efficient and goofy manner. Oh, I know. Alright, without further ado, I present to you all 6 Scream movies ranked. Woohoo! Let's just get this one out of the way. Scream 3 sure is a movie. It sure has some characters in it. Things sure do happen. Look guys, this one just isn't good. Now, it's no secret that Scream 3 is widely recognized as the weakest Scream movie. And after watching it, I can proudly say, yeah, the Stab Film Studio setting is pretty dumb. It makes the movie feel like a parody of itself, causing the self-aware scenes later on to feel a lot more on the nose than any of the other movies. None of the side characters were very interesting, and I felt nothing when any of them died. Gale and Dewey were pretty whatever in this movie. They broke up in between sequels, which kinda downplays the ending of the movie before it. Hope that doesn't become a recurring theme. I like how they got engaged by the end, but that's really about it. Sydney in this movie is fine, I guess. Don't like how she's benched to her house for almost half the movie, but whatever. Her mom's ghost visions are pretty goofy, and not in a good way. The dead parent thing is definitely done a lot better in the other movies, but overall, she's fine, I suppose. Someone who's not fine, however, is this movie's Ghostface. First of all, why does Ghostface suddenly have the ability to perfectly mimic any voice he hears? That makes no sense, and it's never even explained in any way, nor does it come back at any time during the franchise, probably because they realized it's stupid. Now to talk about Roman. He's so stupid, he's so stupid, he's so stupid, he's so... Okay, let's all put ourselves in the mind of a murderous psychopath for a second. Let's say we finally found our estranged mother, only for her to slam the door in our face and pretend nothing happened. So, would you then kill her? Or would you stalk her, catch her being caught in an affair, and then show said affair to your mother's daughter's boyfriend, hoping that he's just as insane as you are and does the job for you? Because I know which choice Roman would pick! Roman is such an uninteresting Ghostface, it hurts. Literally the second I heard him speak, I guessed it was him. Now, admittedly, that suspicion faded as the movie went on. But only because he's barely in the fucking movie. I mean, what does he even do before the big reveal? He's like in the beginning, I guess. And then he's like, oh, boo-hoo, my movie is dead. And then he's also in that one scene with the director for like 5 seconds. And then all of a sudden, the characters go to his house where he does barely anything once again until the big climax. Then, all of a sudden, we are supposed to believe that he was the catalyst that set this entire franchise in motion. God forbid Billy Loomis find out anything on his own. No, we need to establish this loser as the guy pulling all of the strings. But Crusader! It's a reference to how trilogies always introduce some earth-shattering reveal to up the stakes. Plus, you shouldn't be so hard on the movie. It went through production hell and extensive rewrites. Look, I understand both of those points. Trust me, I do. But while production problems and script rewrites suck, I still gotta take this movie for what it is. And you could probably maybe make an argument that Roman's backstory is a nod to other huge reveals, if it just wasn't so forced. Like, come on. Was this directed by M. Night Shyamalan? Was it directed by this guy? Yeah. Fuck you, random guy who told me not to do M. Night Shyamalan jokes. I'm a rebel. Wait. Hold on a second. So to recap, the villain of this movie is scarcely in it. Then, when he finally shows up, all of a sudden, he has a weird, unexplained ability that makes no sense, as well as a major connection to the protagonist, and is responsible for the death of one of their loved ones, who died mysteriously a long time ago. Where does that sound familiar? God damn it, Scream 3. Now I have to deduct points for reminding me of the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, which is like the worst crime any movie could ever commit. Besides, you know, being the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Now, to be fair, they're not as similar in quality as they could have been. Roman is a much more effective villain than this fucking poser. Anyway, enough about that bad movie. Back to this bad movie. Speaking of forced things, can we talk about Randy's video recording? So, I guess Wes Craven killed Randy in Scream 2, but then was like, wait, how will we do the horror movie commentary scene? Will we just make another character that can fill in his shoes? No, we're gonna tell the audience that during Scream 2, Randy thought to himself, I need to make a video for the exact scenario in which I get killed by this ghost face. Then Sidney kills him, and then there's another ghost face after that one that they need help with. And it's like, what? Did he stop at 3? Or did he make enough videos for all scenarios? Either way, this is a weird way to go about doing this. Why not just have one of the other characters perform this monologue? Maybe a character that's not really doing anything? Like, I don't know, Roman? I mean, he's the director of the Stab movie, so it makes sense for him to be a horror movie nerd. It would do a great job making him a more integral part of the plot, instead of him just fucking being there. He would actually contribute to the story as the stand-in for Randy, just like Mindy from 5 and 6. And it wouldn't make him suspicious, because why would the killer be the stand-in for Randy? No one suspects that ever. That never happens. But no, we have to shoehorn this video of Randy and give Roman basically nothing to do until the climax. Thank you, movie. Very cool. Let's see, what else is there to talk about? It has good chase scenes and good kills. But I mean, so do all the other much better Scream movies, so whatever. Ultimately, Scream 3 is a victim of behind-the-scenes drama, causing it to have much less effective commentary and way more forced plot points, adding up to a less than subpar experience. It's not insultingly bad, but given how many glaring issues it has, I wouldn't call it necessarily good. 4 out of 10. Alright, now to talk about the Scream movies that I do like. Scream 6. It's aight. I want to start this by iterating that Scream 6 is not a bad movie. I like it. It is a fairly pleasant viewing experience. So this is the most recent Scream movie to come out. I mean, unless you're watching this from the future. In which case, I must ask, do I ever fall in love? Fine, f*** you, don't answer. I don't care. Anyway, yeah, Scream 6 is fine. One thing that is definitely on point here is the action and the gore. The first scene alone is good enough reason to watch this entire movie. And dude. Ghostface with a shotgun? How did it take this long for someone to come up with this? The scene with Gail fighting off Ghostface in her apartment was very well done. I heavily enjoyed it. Well, at least until Gail survived. What? Who said that? Anyway, the set design goes hard in this movie as well, especially the shrine that the climax takes place in. Very well made. But aside from that, everything else is just kinda okay. Tara and Sam are fine in this movie. I like them more in Scream 5, especially because their arc in this movie is basically the complete opposite of their arc in the 5th movie, but whatever. Tara and Chad getting together is fine. I mean, they're both attractive, I guess. Kirby is back, and well, she's here. Sidney Prescott is not in this one, because I guess Spyglass hates the stars of their movies. So, you know, that kind of sucks, but also, I'm not really sure what she would contribute to this plot, so whatever. Gail's personality does a complete factory reset in between this movie and the last, but I mean, that happens in almost every movie, so I really don't have many strong opinions on this movie. Actually, I lied to you. I have one strong opinion. I don't like this movie's villains. They kinda suck.
You don't want to be like this. This is disgusting. This is awful in every way. If I could kill it, I would. But I legally can't. But I've considered it.
Yeah, I'm not really a fan of Detective What's-His-Face and his 2 kids. Firstly, it was very disappointing seeing all the stuff in the shrine, thinking the killer is another obsessed fan, only to find out that it was just the family of the killer in the last movie. Kind of a letdown if you ask me. Speaking of letdowns, the detective was painfully obvious as the killer. Like, Sam tells him about her therapist, gives him the guy's information, and then we almost immediately cut to the therapist getting murdered. So like, duh. His children, I did not guess. However, but for stupid reasons. Ethan is constantly told to his face that he's Ghostface, like throughout the movie. And then, he is. How riveting. Then we have Mindy. Hey guys, it's me, but like from the future. So it turns out I got a few of the names mixed up in Scream 6, and I kind of refer to Quinn as Mindy throughout this entire review. Sorry about that. Not what I meant to do, but now I know. So yeah. So she gets killed, but then she doesn't get killed, and it's like, why? What did you gain from faking her death? Now they don't have an in on the friend group. And don't say Ethan, because they basically already knew that he was a killer. Hell, I don't even know why they kept him around. Also, I'm just gonna say it, Mindy kinda sucked at being a Ghostface. The only scene I can think of that was definitely Mindy as Ghostface was when she stabbed a Brandy stand-in. Anyway, she waited the whole train ride until the last possible moment, then stabbed her in the gut, had ample time afterwards to stab her in the neck or face, but then just leaves. What kind of lazy ass job at killing someone was that? Your dad's a cop and this is the best you can do? Shameful. But hey, it must be a genetic thing, seeing as just a little bit later in the movie, the detective has an ample opportunity to shoot Tara in the face, and instead chooses to run at her in some sort of melee charge. Why would you do that? Why would you ever do that? You are a cop. It sucks especially because this is such an easy plot hole to fix. Right before this, Tara fires her gun at him, only for it to run out of ammo. Something you could easily write instead is that after that, the detective tries to shoot her too, only for him to run out of ammo as well. Not only is that a funny gag, but it would make sense. Stuff like this kind of gives me the feeling that this movie is a rough draft of a different movie that would have been really good if it had just been tweaked a bit more. Again, it's not a bad movie, but it also could have been so much better. So, in conclusion, Scream 6 does succeed at being a fun popcorn ride, as long as you shut your brain off a little bit and don't think too hard on the plot, because if you do, you might not like what you discover. 6 out of 10. Scream 4 is pretty cool. I gotta say, it's not very often that a movie franchise remains more or less this consistent in quality with such time in between sequels. Well, except that one time. And that other time. Oh, and that other time. Okay, the point is, it's impressive. Granted, the movie before this was Scream 3, so maybe it didn't have the biggest shoes to fill. Nevertheless, it's still a good movie. Sydney is great, as always. This is the only sequel that doesn't start out with Dewey and Gail's relationship in shambles. I mean, it's not in great shape, but it's not in shambles, so that's cool. Kirby is alright. Judy could have been a fun character, but I didn't really like her writing. I also didn't like the GoPro kid. He was pretty annoying. Until his death scene, that was a funny payoff. Not set up very well, but a funny payoff. I will say the intro scene to this movie is by far the worst of any Scream movie ever. It felt like I was watching Scary Movie, which is not necessarily an insult, but man, if I wanted to watch Scary Movie, I would have rented Scary Movie. The overall theme of horror movie remakes is pretty cool, and well done, especially with the reveal of this movie's ghost faces, Charlie and Jill. Charlie is okay. Not bad, but not very memorable. But god damn, is Jill one of the most evil ghost faces or what? She kills her own mother, almost kills her cousin, and then beats the shit out of herself just so she can get famous. That is fucked. Gotta respect the grind though. Slay, sister. Okay, not that much, not that much! But yeah, once Jill is revealed, she steals the show. She is so terrifyingly dedicated to putting herself in the spotlight. She's in a way the anti-Sidney Prescott. Whereas Sidney tries to not indulge in the fame and popularity her family history could give her, Jill embraces it. It's her entire motivation, and honestly, that's fine, you know? I like to go as far as to say that Jill was the closest any Ghostface killer ever was to actually winning. If she had simply just double tapped, that would have been it. But she got just a little bit too overconfident and couldn't finish the job. But anyway, yeah, Scream 4 is not perfect, and admittedly has a pretty slow beginning, but surely picks up as the movie progresses. Its killers are for sure an improvement on the last 2 ghost faces. Well, last 4, whatever. But yeah, Scream 4 is a good movie, and I quite like it. 7 out of 10. Scream 2 is freaking epic. This is how you do a sequel to a horror movie, keeping the same Ghostface scares and self-aware charm, but in a whole new setting with a great cast of old and new characters. Sydney is awesome, as always. Dewey and Gale are good. I still think it's dumb that they break up in between movies, but for this movie it's a first offense, so I'll cut it some slack, I guess. Randy is fun, at least for how long we got him. Gone too soon, my angel. Cotton is, okay, I guess. Pretty obvious red herring, if you ask me. Like, every scene he's in, he's like, I'm super creepy, I might be the killer! But then he's not, so, whatever. Derek was a really fun character, though. I loved his chemistry with Sydney. Well, except for this one part.
I need some distance.
I guess I'm supposed to be understanding.
Yes! Literally yes! But besides that one weird line, he was cool. The new setting was surprisingly nice. At first, I didn't think I would like them leaving Woodsboro, but I honestly enjoyed the college. Stuff like the chase scene that took place during the play rehearsal were really cool ways of properly utilizing the space. And now to talk about this movie's killers. Man, they're alright. Not perfect, but not frustratingly bad either. They were good. Mickey is fine as a killer. I kind of wish he was in the movie a bit more beforehand, because honestly when his reveal came, I was like, wait, who? Oh yeah, that one guy. It's not as bad as Roman from Scream 3, but it's pretty close. I will say, I do really love the part after his reveal when he pretends that Derek is his partner, just to fuck with Sydney. That was funny. Nancy Loomis was a bit better, I'll say. I think she also wasn't too integral to the plot before, but she had a decent amount of screen time. I'm a little confused that her motivation is to kill Sydney because she killed Billy, her son, that she abandoned. Because it's like, lady, you abandoned your son. What do you care? Then again, she's a psychopath, so maybe that thought didn't cross her mind. Whatever. Either way, the killers were fine. So yeah, Scream 2 was at worst just kinda okay, but when it hits, by golly, it hits. Or stabs. And sometimes shoots. Whatever. 8 out of 10.
Don't be intimidated, Squidward. Try to imagine him in his underwear. Oh no, he's hot!
Okay guys, when it comes to these grand lists that I so generously bestow upon all of you, I try to leave as much bias out of this as I possibly can. But sometimes, my bias gets the better of me. Sometimes, I just can't let go of how I feel about a movie. Sometimes, I just think something's neat. With that being said, Scream 5 is so good. It's so good. Go watch it. Go watch it. I love it. It's so good. Seriously, you should go watch it. Wait, where are you going? Watch me first, obviously. Okay, so I have a bit of a confession to make. When it comes to first viewing, I did not watch these movies in order. I watched the first one, and then I watched 5 and 6. And for the purpose of this list, I rewatched the whole series, which obviously included 2, 3, and 4. Watching these other sequels was fun, well, mostly, but gosh darn it, they just never compared to the one I had already watched. Scream 5 is awesome and cool and awesome. I remember seeing the trailers for this movie. I gotta be honest, they looked really mid. Going in, I did not think this movie was going to be that cool. But then, it was that cool, and I was speechless. I loved the commentary on legacy sequels. After the countless amounts of horror movies that made legacy sequels, it was nice to have one of them be a little self-aware with it. I loved how the climax took place in Stumacher's house. It was awesome and led to a bunch of great scenes. The kills in this movie felt so gut-wrenching. You know, the one where he stabs that one guy, and then the other one where he goes vertical on that one guy. Every kill in this movie had so much identity to it, and the characters were so memorable. Tara and Sam were great. I loved Sam's arc of rekindling with their sister after she left. It was nice. Dewey and Gale are in this one too. They broke up in between movies again, which, you know, is still dumb. But I at least liked their interactions before, well, the most tragic death in all of Scream. Bro, Dewey did not deserve what happened to him. Bro was cut from top to bottom like a Thanksgiving on turkey dinner. Or, wait, no. You get the point. God, it was just so tragic. Kinda wish it had been Gale instead. What? Who said that? Anyway, I loved the side characters. Liv was cool. The twins were really funny. Hell, even Wes and his mom, the cop from Scream 4, were memorable at least. And oh boy, the ghost faces. Dude, Richie was one of the most surprising reveals in the entire franchise for me. Like, it's Jack Quaid, man. Why would Huey from The Boys want to stab people? He wouldn't do that. I loved hearing his man-child fanboy rant about finishing his movie. Ha! Wait till he hears about Star Wars, am I right? But yeah, Jack Quaid was awesome. And then we have Amber. Marry me! I mean, Mary full performance is what this actress did. Anyway, Amber is so beautifully insane as the second Ghostface. The way she gloats in her killing, her mannerisms, she's just so fun to watch. Her actress did such a great job in this role. I probably should have looked up her name before recording this. Meh, too much work. But yeah, these are honestly some of my favorite killers in the entire franchise. Amber specifically for, well, because of her plot importance. Yeah. Man, it is really hard editing this video with one hand. What? Who said that? That wasn't you. You must have said something about... I mean... Look, I don't have a problem. I will admit, while these killers have great scenes, kills, and actors betraying them, their overall plan is, well... Let's just say Lex Luthor from Batman v Superman levels of convoluted. But to be fair, these two are just some dumb horror fans who occasionally got lucky. I think it's in character for their plan to be a little crazy sometimes. Either way, I don't harp too much on it. It's not literal police detective not using the loaded gun in his hand levels of bad, so I think I can live with it. So yeah, Scream 5 is a great story, sequel, and love letter to the current state of horror. This franchise earned its resurrection after dropping this fire-ass movie. 9 out of 10. Okay, this #1 spot should have been pretty obvious to, like, everyone. Of course Scream 1 is the best one. Do you even know what movies we're talking about here? You don't? Well, go watch them. Wait, what are you doing? Watch me first. I gotta be honest, when it comes to the all-time classic movies, I haven't really watched too many of them. Not because I think they're bad or anything, I don't know, I'm lazy or something. What do you want from me? But of the classic horror movies that I have seen, the first Scream movie is without a doubt my all-time favorite. This movie just does everything right. The chase scenes are so well done. The acting is perfect. The kills are really good. The meta take on horror movies is really awesome for its time. It's crazy to think back then, this was still a new thing. And you can't forget the characters. Sydney is a great protagonist, and all of the supporting characters are awesome. Even Gale and Dewey are amazing. In this movie specifically. And of course, if we're talking about Scream, we have to talk about the two most iconic villains in this entire franchise. Principal Hembry and Janitor Fred. Nah, I'm just f***ing with you. It's these guys. I love Billy and Stu. Billy is a great protagonist. Billy is a great antagonist with a really good motivation. I will say there are a few too many red herring scenes with him. Or I guess red herring scenes. I don't know. There were too many scenes where the movie went, he might be the killer! Huh, just kidding, he's not. Or is he? But besides that, awesome villains. And don't even get me started on Stu. Well, I guess I have to in order to finish the video. Stu is just so amazing. He's entertaining as a supporting character and as a villain. I loved every single scene this little goober was in. He was played perfectly by Matthew Lillard. So yeah, great villains, but honestly, I like the protagonist even better. Sidney Prescott is one of my all-time favorite horror movie protagonists. She's smart, she's capable, she's beautiful, she's not stupid, she's all of the things. Watching her toy with, then outsmart her enemies is just so satisfying. Especially when it's against Billy and Stu. God, this movie is so flawless. I genuinely can't think of a single bad thing about it. Hell, I'm just gonna say it, 10 out of 10. Yeah, that's right. I think this movie's perfect. Me. I said it, and I'm standing by it. Well, actually, I'm sitting as I'm recording this, but the point stands. Scream 1 is a 10 out of 10 movie, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Well, that was my list of all the Scream movies. At least, all the current ones. And tune in next time where I rank each of Jason Voorhees' toes or something. I don't know. Mikey Madison. That was her name. I remembered it. It was Mikey Madison. I should probably go outside.